Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Ric Bucher.
Ric Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Ric Bucher. You can see me on FS1, read me on Bleacher Report, and follow me on Twitter at Ric Bucher. He is Will Blackman, NFL vet, Super Bowl champ, and you can find him at Will Blackman. All right, so you and I, we've had a couple technical difficulties. We went dark on Friday's show, and then you and I skipped our usual Sunday for Monday show because of that, and we have a lot to catch up on.
This is true.
So, let's start with
my weekend.
Let's start.
You know what?
Sure, let's start with your weekend.
Actually, I have something to confess.
Yes.
So I always, when it comes to me about being competitive, I always tell people, I am, because of being a professional athlete, yes, I'm competitive, but I always say my wife is the most competitive in the house.
Right.
And no matter what we do, she's extremely competitive. And I'm like, usually I can play a recreational sport. Actually, all the time I can play a recreational sport, and I'm just fine.
Uh-oh.
So
okay.
Every Tuesday night, I play basketball with a bunch of dads.
Mm-hmm.
Just we just play to go there and get some cardio and just to have fun. And usually, I'm the mediator. Someone steps on the line. I'm like, look, this is a Christian school. It's not that serious. It's not that serious, and it's not that serious. However, there's only one thing on the court I have zero tolerance for, and that's when someone unnecessarily like a flagrant foul, basically, right? That's kind of like, come on, man, we're out here. No one's getting paid, right? You know what I mean?
No need for that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, a month ago, I came down the court full speed, on a fast break, and this guy was probably 150 pounds, reached in to grab the ball, and I ran him over, clean over, and I thought I killed the dude, And the messed up part is I didn't even feel it. That was tough.
Oh.
But to my point, he was like, "You got to give me credit." He said, "You got to give me credit for at least, trying to get the ball." I was like, "Dude, I respect your hustle, but let's be careful. We're not trying to hurt each other."
Yeah.
So there's a guy we play with. He's real intense, and once again, I respect his hustle too. He's actually, pretty good shape, pretty good athlete. Maybe about 6'1", maybe 190.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going down on a fast break by myself again, and I just hear his feet chasing me down the court. So I slow down to get out of his way because I know he's known for just blocking shots. He has a really long wingspan too. Okay. So I slow down and get out of his way to let him pass me, and I just go for a layup, with my left. Mm-hmm. And he jumps, but he jumps and jumps right into me with a shoulder block, drills me. And my immediate reaction, I threw the ball at the dude. I lit him up with the basketball, and I was so upset. It's one thing if he went up and tried to block it and he knocked me over. That's one thing, but he didn't even put his hand up.
Right.
He shoulder blocked me to knock me off, and I almost fell, and I got so upset, man. And I threw the ball. I'm the one that's like, everyone relax. It's not that serious, not that serious. And I chucked the ball right at this dude.
I will say, in your defense, you weren't the instigator. And you anticipated what was going to happen and tried to avoid what was going to be a dynamic play, right? And the dude basically took plan B. I can't block him, so I'm just going to stop him. Which, in pickup, when nobody's getting paid, my whole philosophy was, I want to get in, I want to get out without getting hurt. However I play is secondary. If I get a good workout and I didn't get hurt, it's a good day. So I kind of understand where that came from.
And his thing was, and I apologize for all that. I went up to him. I was remorseful. I felt bad about it, because he wasn't out there intentionally trying to hurt me. However, there is a history. I do get in his head a little bit.
Right.
A little bit, because I know how hard he's trying, and he's like, we're going to win. And that was his argument. He goes, well, I'm out here trying to win. That's all that matters. I said, yeah, I want you to try to win, right, but let's not kill each other trying to do it.
Understood. And still, it's like, okay, what are you winning here? Like, sure, you want to win, you want to stay on the court, but what's the prize? And what's the prize worth?
For him, he's that guy. It's self-satisfaction.
Okay.
So when I got there first, he actually, made the winning bucket to win the game, and he did like a Jordan fist pump, like this. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. He's really emotional like that. So I actually get a kick out of playing someone like that because it's funny. Yeah. He's athletic and coordinated, but he's not a basketball player.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Well, say no more.
That's my whole point of him being violent. So,
right.
I mean, those
are the most dangerous guys.
They're the most dangerous
because they can mix it up. They can always get to the spot. They can always get involved because they're athletic enough.
Yeah,
but they don't understand the finer points of, okay, you're playing hard, but you got to play smart.
Exactly. The actual art of basketball.
Yes.
And
when you're competing.
When you're competing, it is no holds barred. That's the difference. I can play with a bunch of guys aggressive who know how to play basketball. But when you have guys who go up there and they're just ready to rock,
right?
Like that's my hope. That's exactly why I slow down on my fast break.
I've got a crooked. I got a crooked left. I got a crooked index finger, because one of those guys.
I did get in his head though a couple games ago. He came down a fast break by himself. He was my guy I was defending. And one of my teammates was hustling to go put a hand up in his face. I was like, no. I said, let him shoot it.
Oh.
Air ball.
Oh. This was before or after you threw the ball at
This is way before. Way before. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, afterwards, though, we were up.
Dude, what you think he wasn't going to come for you after that?
No, I thought he was going to try to block my shot, which is fine. He sent mine to the bleachers before. That's fine,
Right.
I thought he was going to at least put a hand up. I didn't know he was going to go into me, know.
So where did it go after you threw the ball at him?
So, we argued a little bit, and then, we were going up and down the court, and we were up. I think the game was to 9. We were up, and I think like 7-1, I believe it was. And he's like, "It's not over, guys. We can make a comeback. It's never over." That guy, it's never over.
So, are you serious?
So they go down, they make a shot. So now it's like 7-5. And, I am.
Were you playing to 11 or play what?
To 9, because we had so many guys. So we just had short games. And so, I am the guy like you do want to maybe swing at, because I'll smile down the court, whatever. So he's like, "It's 7-5. It's never over." I was like, dude, you guys aren't going to win. He was like, "Ignore him. It's never over." I was like, "You're not." I was like, "Let it go. It's never over." So he's like, doing the clap on defense, getting ready to go.
Oh my goodness.
And next thing you know, boom, I bang down a 2. My father-in-law bangs down a 2, and we go sit down. The game is over.
All right. We've now spent 9 minutes on your pickup game.
I'm sorry. No, the whole point was, I need to tone it down. So I come in peace.
Well, I have to ask. I hate to carry on this, but what happened after you threw the ball at him?
Oh, he walked up to me, upset, like, right. Yo, like what was that for? That's my whole thing, though. He was so delusional, and to the point where he didn't even know he did something wrong.
Right.
He thought it was what it was. So.
All right.
That's kind of, I was like, this guy doesn't know what's going on. So I was like, you know what? I apologize. I went up to him. It was all good. I'll see him next Tuesday, tomorrow.
Speaking of Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, him walking off?
Which one? Yeah, so let's start there. Let's start with the podium and work our way backward.
I
know the backstory by the way of why he walked off.
Yeah, no. We can get to that.
Okay.
No, it's interesting because I love the way he handles the interviews and he goes through all the stat notes all the time and he's what have you. And I was like, man, I literally almost tweeted out. I was like, see, that's how you handle a loss. You sit there, you handle it, you talk about it like a professional. You don't get up and walk away like Cam Newton. Right. And I didn't say anything. Then lo and behold,
boom,
it takes off. So please, backstory.
So Malika Andrews is the reporter who asked the question.
She's Wisconsin, right?
Yes. And apparently she had put something out about Giannis saying that this Toronto series could have, or I don't know if it was could have or will have an impact on Giannis's decision to stay or go.
Huh.
So when she asked this question about experience, that apparently lit the match. Or Giannis wasn't happy about the previous. I don't know if it was a tweet. I don't know. I should know the details. I was told the details. I didn't write them down. But it was who was asking the question and what the question was about, which was now having, you guys didn't know if experience was going to be a factor. People say that it is. Now that you've been through this, would you say that experience is a factor playing in the conference finals? And Giannis just didn't want to engage someone who had tweeted something that he obviously had objections to. And that's why he walked off.
Was that walk-off worthy, though?
No. Well, honestly, I don't know that anything is. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if you are walking off, I don't know how you
it looks worse on you. Like
absolutely, that's what I mean.
No one's applauding the fact that you walked off.
That's what I mean. You got to be. Yeah. You have to. I mean, this is one of the challenges, the responsibilities, the burdens of being a professional athlete is you have to be above it.
Right.
Now, what really bothered me, and I talked a little bit about this in the last podcast. What really bothers me is that nobody from the Bucks, clearly the Bucks, did not prepare him, because you have to know that he's emotional going up there. Remind him, hey, you need to get through 5-6 minutes of this. You may be asked some tough questions that are going to hit you wrong. Don't be LeBron James from the 2011 Finals, where he didn't walk off, but he acted really childish in some ways in some of his answers. Like, well, I'll still get up tomorrow and you'll be living, all those people that are hating on me.
Yeah,
they'll be living
so
their sorry
petty.
lives. Yes, it's petty. And walking off is petty. There's no other word for it. It's the best word for it. It's petty.
If anybody wants to look at two guys who probably, to me, are the greatest players or professional athletes to handle interviews, it's Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson.
Oh, I was going to give you one more.
Give me.
Guy you played with. Eli Manning.
A lot of people. Eli? No, Eli does a great job. I think so. I think he does a great job. I think Sean McVay does a great job.
Yes, he does. Although we haven't seen him really face the fire. I give Eli credit because he's faced the fire. And he still shows up, still answers the questions.
After that crumble in the Super Bowl.
What's that?
He faced the fire after he crumbled in that Super Bowl.
No, I get that. But as young as he is, it's the first time he's had to face the fire. And let's be honest, he faced the fire. It's after the Super Bowl. Like, it's not.
Right. We just went to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Like, hello.
Exactly.
Come on now.
You weren't, I'm still a prodigy. So I think he gets extra credit, or I give Eli extra credit because, Eli's been taking it. And he shows up. He answers the questions. Look, anybody out there, you want to find the
Eli took it as soon as he walked through the door because he didn't want to go to San Diego.
That too. But you ask, like, if there's a press conference out there where Eli acted out of turn or walked off or was offended by a question, you send it to me because I've never seen it. Yeah,
and he had every right in a lot of cases to act the fool.
Yeah.
Especially when he got benched.
Yep. So, yeah, no, I had issue with that. But here's the thing. To me, this is a reflection of who Giannis is as a player. This was a situation he was not prepared for, and he didn't know how to react. Didn't we just watch that on the floor in the last 4 games? What?
Foreigners, man.
Look, he's a young player. He will get better. But it's funny. I had an assistant coach tell me before I was asking him like what he thought about Warriors matchup with the Bucks and with Giannis. And he said, his game's not that nuanced. He feels like a lot of smoke has been blown up Giannis's butt and hopes that that's not going to undercut him in becoming what he should become. Now, I've talked to other people, Jason Kidd, Joe Prunty, those guys who coached him. They're like, hey, dude, this guy's got it. He'll get there because he wants it. He wants it badly enough.
Right.
So I believe that. But Toronto did what I thought you could do, which is if you take certain things away, if he goes left, just don't let him come back right because he wants to come back right.
Right.
Make him pick up that dribble, and now he's a decision maker. You've taken away a lot of his game. And so Toronto was just very good and disciplined about that. Now, when it comes to the Raptors, and I'm skipping forward to the finals, unless there's something about the series that you want to get into or you observe that you want to touch upon. But otherwise, I want to get sort of your feelings about what the level of entertainment that you're expecting from a Warriors-Raptors NBA Finals.
Well, I don't know if it was fake news or what, but I saw that Boogie is questionable.
Yes. Well, he's being so I don't know if they're listing him as questionable. Steve Kerr was very clear. If you listen and read everything that Steve Kerr has said about the subject, they're trying to keep DeMarcus's mind right. If you said
DeMarcus is Game 6 ready?
Yeah. If you said like, yeah, because if there's 2 things. It's not so much that he's not physically able to go because he's practicing with the team.
Yeah.
It's basically, is he in shape? And is he in shape well enough that we would risk playing him in an NBA Finals game? Steve Kerr didn't say those exact words, but if you are able to read between the lines, that's what he was saying.
Right.
And so, he's not going to say doubtful. He's not going to say, I don't know if he's going to play in this series. He wants to hold that hope out there for DeMarcus because he knows that this is the whole reason that DeMarcus came here. And it's already been a disappointing season in having a second injury, which took him out, second quarter of game 2 of the playoffs. Like this is not what he signed up for.
Right.
So he's just trying to keep him there. Now, I don't expect that Durant is going to play at all. DeMarcus has a better...
all? What do you mean at all?
Like DeMarcus isn't going to play in the finals.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant Durant.
I mean, Durant is not going to play in the finals.
I think Durant's 100%.
100% going to play?
I think he's 100% healthy.
Oh, no. No.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm... In fact, what I've been told is that this injury is...
So you're so slick, dude. What I've been told. I tell you what, you are a veteran in the game.
I've been talking to a lot of people over the last 24 hours. Even hearing that he may be having second thoughts about leaving Golden State because of the injury. Because the injury is a lot more severe.
You might have to get that calf scoped.
Well, and he's suddenly looking at, okay, a serious injury. Can I go to New York and carry a team by myself? If I don't, man, like physically, it's a lot easier playing with Steph, playing with Clay, playing with Draymond, playing with this crew is a lot easier than me going and carrying the water all by myself.
So Clay's leaving.
Oof. Well, that does open up a whole other can of worms. Because financially, how are you going to satisfy everybody?
How are you going to satisfy everybody?
That does become the next domino to fall. It's a great point by you.
So anyhow, you asked me a question on my thoughts on the finals.
Yes.
I do have the Warriors winning.
Okay.
I don't have a actual which game yet.
No, just do it. Just do it. Pick one.
5.
Just do it. 5?
And 5.
Okay.
And 5.
Okay.
I think a game in Toronto, the energy would be great. And I think they'll find everything in their power to get a game.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka game. I think they're going to be extremely important because they're going to have to play half-court basketball.
Yep.
In order to get this done. And I think I know they're physical enough to try to dominate, in the paint. So I think that's going to be really, really, really important. And I don't know, there's just something or energy-wise with Kawhi Leonard. There's just something, I don't know, there's just something about it where, you see it in a guy and you just don't want to go against him.
Yeah. And I believe
I meant in terms of like, yeah, I'm gonna pick the Warriors, but man, if the Raptors pull something off, I wouldn't be like shocked and blown away. I'm like, man, Kawhi's in the zone right now, and he's figuring it out and he's leading.
That's why I believe it's going to be more competitive than people are giving it credit. I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to go 6 games, and I don't expect it's going to be a rollover. The big question is going to be, can they do with the Warriors what they did to Milwaukee, which is exactly as you said. Choke the pace down, make it a half-court game. And this is where I struggle because Kawhi is going to be a difficult matchup in the half-court. But can you get easy buckets? Because the Warriors can get easy buckets in the half-court. Milwaukee couldn't get easy buckets in the half-court.
Right.
They didn't have enough playmakers. Once you made Giannis play in a half-court, now you're relying on Bledsoe. You're relying on Malcolm Brogdon. There's just George Hill. Now it's instead of George Hill and Malcolm Brogdon and Eric Bledsoe, you're talking about Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry as playmakers. Little bit different, just a little bit different.
Exactly, because who's going to defend who?
Yeah,
that's where I see the issue is when Golden State is on offense. Who's going to defend who?
Yeah.
Kawhi's going to go on Clay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and this will be interesting because how they match it up. Are you going to put Kyle on Steph?
Right.
Or are you going to put Pascal Siakam on Steph?
Right.
Because length will, if you're going to make the game hard for Steph, you can do that. The matchups will be very interesting. This will be a test of Nick Nurse. And what's so funny, and I pointed it out again, like it will be more of a test of Nick Nurse as a defensive coach than as an offensive coach.
Yeah, because I am not putting Pascal on Steph.
You're not.
No,
then who you're putting him?
Pascal's going to hit the floor so many times.
What do you mean? Just get shook?
Yes.
That may
be. He's too big to be chasing that guy around all day long.
I will say, I went out to practice 2 times in the last couple of days, and Steph has just like a little couple pieces of black tape on the finger on his left hand, and he was in a zone from everywhere, just dropping it everywhere.
They have superpowers. That's what it is.
Man, it was. This is one of the most beautiful things. It's relaxing for me just to go shoot, but to watch somebody who can shoot at that level
and not even hit the rim.
It's hypnotic. It's meditative for me to see just that whap, 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 effortless. I love it.
And this is interesting too because this reminds me of the Super Bowl where everyone's comparing players. Like this guy, you got Brady. Of course, you can't go against Brady because he's the MVP. Well, the Warriors got Steph, who's an two-time MVP, and you got Brady has all these rings, and Steph has all these rings. The Patriots, Warriors. But the real battle in the Super Bowl was Belichick versus Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you look at it from that perspective, it's like, come on, man, it's not even close.
Okay, so you said it was going to be 5 games. I said it's going to be more competitive. It's going to be 6. You said you wouldn't be surprised if it's more competitive. And then we just trotted out all the reasons why this should be a sweep. Like the advantage the Warriors have in coaching, the difference in the personnel between Milwaukee playmakers and Golden State's. So here is why I do believe it's going to be competitive. And number 1 is exactly what you said. At the center position between Ibaka and Marc Gasol, I think they can cause some problems. How are you going to match up with them? It's one thing for Kevon Looney to do what he's done against Myers Leonard and Enes Kanter. Marc Gasol's a different animal. He's got more in his bag than Enes Kanter does. And Serge Ibaka
Serge is a different athlete.
Is an inside-outside guy. If Kevon steps out on him, he's going to go by him. So right. I do think that that's a wrinkle. I also think the bench is a difference with Fred VanVleet playing the way that he has been playing and Powell playing the way that he's been playing. That as gratifying as it's been to see guys like Quinn Cook and Jonas Jerebko step up and contribute. Now we're at the finals.
Right.
Now let's see. And then the same thing applies to the Raptors. But I'm not convinced that I think the talent level with the Raptors bench is higher, and now it depends on who's going to seize the moment. And are we going to have a Patrick McCaw sighting?
Right.
And what will that be like?
I feel like this would be a series where he will be the unsung hero. There's something about him where, he feels so confident to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Like if he was on Golden State, he would be lights out.
I thought that was one of the mistakes they made was in not bringing him back, not spending the extra money to bring him back. And then, Kevon Looney really stepped up, and that's made a huge difference, and they went and got Bogut, and they've had enough to get to the finish line. But the thing, I don't know if they screwed it up with McCaw. Like a lot of people are looking at McCaw and say, why would you leave the Warriors? And this is, I'll explain this first. The reason he left is because they had basically told him, you're the guy. You're in this role. And then they went and signed Nick Young. And suddenly he was having to compete for the spot. Right. It was like, wait a minute. He felt betrayed. Like, why are you going and getting this guy when you told me I had earned that spot?
Welcome to sports.
Yes. So, to that end, people thought he was a little bit crazy. And I'll be honest, I thought he's a little bit crazy. I think Jordan Bell's been a little bit crazy in how he's approached things. But it amazes me there are athletes, professional athletes, who are convinced once they've made the league, whatever league it might be, oh, well, if they're not going to use me here, I'll go someplace else. But I'm going to be in the league. And I feel like that's a little delusional with certain guys. And Patrick McCaw's right on that fringe. Like, I don't know that people are breaking down the door to get you. Yes, can you help teams? Yes. But are you so special that they can't find somebody else? I don't know about that. And I feel the same way with Jordan Bell. I don't know if you've had that experience where you've either played with guys or you've come up with guys or you've seen guys come in and go out because they assumed like they were in, and if not in one place, in another place, and they end up on the outside looking in. Because you know what they say? A lot of 4-3s on them streets.
A lot of no, it's interesting because here's what happened when you have a guy who's talented and they're let go by a team that is interested. The first thing they're going to do is call that former team and say, what's wrong with him? What's the problem? What's the issue? I try to tell these young guys, I'm like, listen, you guys can do what you want. You can have all these tantrums or attitudes, all these whatever you want, disputes with players or coaches, what have you. But everybody talks.
Yeah.
All these GMs are hooked up with each other. They're friends through business. So they're going to talk to each other. They're going to share notes. They're going to find out what's going on. They want to know what is happening. I mean, for example, I'm in a different situation because I'm a player. I'm not in the front office. When DJ Swearinger got released from the Redskins, who was a starting safety, who's a good player, 2 GMs called me because they knew I knew him. So what's the deal with DJ? What's he like as a person? What's his personality? Is he a good dude? Why did he get released? What's the issue? Everyone talks.
Right.
So to your point, if you're either that's the case if you're like a really good starter, promising player, or like you said, if you're not one of those promising players and you have a little red flag or something about you and players are talking, you're gonna have an issue trying to get back in.
Yeah. I'm sure that it's more than one call too. I'm sure they're making a half dozen calls to do their homework on a guy, and it's not even you have to have, if they make 6 calls, like 4 of the calls have to be good and 2 of them can be bad. If 2 of them are bad, if there's more than one like ding on you in those calls, then they're probably moving on and you're not getting another shot.
Yeah, and where did DJ end up going? He went back to Arizona, his last team.
Right.
Because they knew him.
Right.
Right. I mean, I always bring up the whole story when Charles Woodson was with us a few weeks ago, but he was a Pro Bowl corner. And when he was a free agent, nobody wanted to sign Charles Woodson because of what they heard about him in Oakland. Not one team, and the only team that called him was Green Bay.
That's wild.
To our point.
Yes. And if you can be that kind of talent and that can put you on the outside, that says a lot.
Green Bay was his only option.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So I had this conversation with Andre Iguodala the other day. It's a piece that I'm going to be writing for Bleacher Report this week.
You are all up in their facility. My
Dude,
goodness
I've talked
gracious.
to everybody over there. Well, not everybody, but I've been doing a lot of work on the Warriors. Well, they're in the finals. They're about to very likely three-peat. I mean, yeah, if you're going to write about something right now, that's what you should be writing about. In any event, or at least trying to find some new ground. I mean, everybody's going to be writing about them. It's whether you can find something that's fertile. But I had a long conversation with Iguodala, and he talked about the unique chemistry of this team. It's actually what I wanted to talk to him about, because I feel as if people are just focused on like KD, whether KD stays or goes, and that's going to decide the fate of the Warriors. And I'm looking at Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston. If either one or both of those guys go, this Warriors team's not the same. You're not replacing that. And it's not just the talent, it's the chemistry.
Right.
It's the guys who, and Andre pointed this out, like Sean and Andre was a finals MVP. Now, he wasn't saying this, but it's part of the point. Like, if anybody should expect to get more, play more, be treated a certain way, it's a guy who's a finals MVP. And yet he's never let that get in the way. Sean Livingston has never let that get in the way. Meanwhile, you got Terry Rozier over in Boston, who's the 7th, 8th man. And he's like, well, if I'm not getting mine, I'm a starter in this league, whatever. And I think there's more mentality that way than there is guys that are willing just to sacrifice and look at how do I need to operate for the good of the team. And I'm going to trust the team is utilizing me to its best advantage. The Warriors have a very unique situation, and that there's no, I even heard in Toronto at the beginning of the year, like Kyle Lowry and Kawhi kind of had to sort it out because it was, okay, hold on, man. Like, I'm the resident sheriff. You're gonna come in and take this thing over. And sometimes those things get resolved, and sometimes in the case of the Celtics, they don't. But the Warriors, I guess my general point is saying, a little bit like Kendrick Perkins, when Kendrick Perkins was traded by the Celtics. You looked at Kendrick and he was like, okay, he was a starting center. He was like the Zaza Pachulia of the Warriors the last couple of years. But his presence in the locker room, the balance of personalities was greatly impacted when he left. They were not the same.
Right.
And I just wonder, if you experienced that in a team where there was somebody who left or whatever, was cut, traded, whatever, and the team didn't know, or the front office didn't know, you know what? There's some intangibles here that you're losing that's really going to upset the balance of this team.
Well, I had a couple of examples. So I would say with the Warriors, they get it because they have a coach who's seen it. He's seen what it looks like twice on 2 different teams. And he's been blessed, to be with Phil Jackson and to be with Pop. So he's seen it. And that's also why he's able to coach and give the guys the formula of what it's supposed to look like. And I go to comparison once again. I go to New England. He's done it for so long, and he's seen it, where he can show everyone the formula of what it looks like, and he's able to have people buy in because he has done it. You know, and so that makes sense why there were some issues with Kawhi and Kyle Lowry, but I think Kyle had to accept the fact that, hey man, Kawhi has seen what it looks like.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
and he can get us there.
And sometimes guys have to be humble enough to do their job and just take this is your role.
The Raptors' confidence in Kawhi versus the Bucks' confidence in Giannis was clear as night and day. The Raptors realized over the course of that series, if we all do our jobs, that guy can bring us home. Like that guy can bring us home.
If we win, we all eat.
Right.
That's where a lot of teams and coaches and players, they all struggle to understand that concept. Like, listen, like if we all just do our job and we win, we all get taken care of. We all get a title. We all get a bonus. And now everyone's going to try to sign us because they know that, hey, this guy has been a championship team. This guy has seen it and done it and knows what it looks like.
Right.
And so I have two situations. When I went to Jacksonville, I mean, new owner, new GM, new head coach, everything was new. So everyone was trying to figure out what was going on. And so in this case, there was a lot of individuals of guys just trying to play and, you know, trying to find their way, trying to find an identity. And I mean, we struggled because we had a lot of guys who, when it was going well, all about it. When it was not going well, everyone looked at each other, pointed the finger, coaches included, in that aspect. And I'm like, man, this is crazy, you know. And when I was trying to be the guy to like lead and step up, you know, I got into I had butt with my coach, my position coach, a couple times because it almost looked like he took it as me trying to take over for him. When I'm like, nah, dude, I'm actually trying to help you,
right? Because
I've seen it,
right?
Let me help. So there was a lot of that, a restricting of what I can do. And so when I went to the Redskins. At the time, it was Scott McCloughan, who was the general manager, and he knew how to find football players. And obviously not to state the obvious, guys who play football, but football players, guys who love football, who have been around the game enough, who not only study the game well, but can teach other guys and who know how to lead. So we didn't have a bunch of like all-stars and Pro Bowlers on our 2015 team, but he found a bunch of guys who were real professionals, who have been on teams where they've been successful, who knew how to take care of their bodies, who knew how to study, who knew how to do all these little things enough to get us into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, was that team better than the 2016 roster? No. 17 roster? No. Definitely not the 18 roster was really good. And meanwhile, those three teams have not gone to the playoffs.
Right.
But we did because we had a bunch of guys, bunch of veterans that just understood football. And so, I mean, I'm going to be real. When I was there in 16, when I moved to safety, we had so many personalities in that room with Josh Norman and Bashar Breeland and just a bunch of guys. And the one thing I'm able to do is I can find the good in every single player or even person. Because the one compliment I get is like I listen well. So I'll listen to see what's going on, and I'll try to stretch myself and help anyone I can. So Thursday nights I will have meetings to, you know, guys come watch film. I'll teach guys how to watch film. Why? Because I was the player. I didn't know how to study. So I'm teaching guys how to study. I'm teaching guys how to watch film. When we're playing in the games, hey, I know this guy may not be a great studier, so I'll study extra so that in a game I'll give him a report before the game, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what it is. And I know some guys didn't get along, and I feel like I kept the peace there.
But that's a heavy load. I mean, that's a lot of extra work to try to keep things right.
No, but I like that. Like, I embraced it. No one told me to do that.
Right.
I did it because I seen it.
Yeah.
I knew what it took to have a team that is on the same page, to everybody to do their role and do their job.
Well, and it's also appreciating the value of that.
Right.
I think there's often, whether it's front office or it's within the locker room, there's a feeling like talent will win out.
Right.
And talent doesn't.
Talent won't always win out. It won't. So that's the thing I had to learn, like, hey, okay, they're not paying me top dollar. They're not trying to make me, the primary safety of this team. Okay. But what kept me in the league for a long time is my value to play safety, to play corner, to play nickel, to play dime, to play returner. Hey, we need someone to run on kickoff. I'll go knock somebody out, whatever, not a big deal. So because of my value, because I've seen so much and dealt with so much, even in terms of my injuries, the adversity, I was able to, help guys with this, help guys with that. Hey, I've been depressed. I've been injured. I had an ACL. I won a Super Bowl. I've been cut. I started. I had everything.
Yeah.
So I'm here just mentoring.
You can relate to everybody.
Yeah. And so I felt like, I did a great job in terms of trying to help everybody mentally in the game. So I felt like when I got released in 2017, that all of a sudden I'm getting reports that guys are having fist fights in the secondary. That guys aren't getting along here. This guy is doing this. This guy is doing that. This is going on here.
Yeah.
The locker room is divided because some people want him to be the leader. People want this guy to be the leader. And I was there when things were going on. I would talk to guys like, "Hey, man, at the end of the day, when we're between the white lines, let's go play."
Yeah.
And I think that when I left, a lot of issues started fusing up in terms of in the locker room. So I hate saying like me, but I know for a fact that was a big deal. Well, and unfortunately, I still would have been there if Scott McCloughan had not been fired. A lot of guys got released that were leaders and veterans, and that kind of helped keep everything together. They got released when Scott got fired because we were Scott's guys.
I've long believed that guys with your type of career, your type of experience, make for better coaches because you can relate to guys on a spectrum as opposed to great players. Yeah, they may know the game, but they can't relate to the guy who's got to grind. And they can't teach the game to a guy necessarily who has to grind to be able to make the cut. And it comes back to the value of Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston and guys like that in that locker room and the delicate balance. Guys that don't have an ego, that play big roles, but then anybody coming into their group, DeMarcus is an example. And Andre talked about it, how in some ways they had to encourage him to be more aggressive, and then in other ways they had to say, hey, you need to pull it back here.
Right.
And it's understanding, it's all got to be within the balance of the team. Those are the decisions that we make. And when you've created a culture of a group that knows how to protect it, then anybody who comes in, they either they get along or they move on out. But if you don't create that culture, if you don't have somebody safeguarding it, then you're prey to whatever new face walks in through the door. Maybe they'll help, but they could just as well turn things sideways.
Right, because the things that they respect, players respect these things. They respect champions, or maybe even multiple champions. If a guy's more than once a champion, and they respect guys who if they see that double digit on them. Hey, this guy played multiple years. Oh, people always ask me, man, how'd you do it? What did you do?
Right.
The other thing they respect a lot is guys who have gone through the fire, been burned, came out on the other side, and they're like nothing happened.
Yeah.
How did you do that? And you look at someone like Iggy,
Yeah.
He's been through it. And
multiple
he's a leader.
Places.
Yeah, and he's a leader. He's automatically respected when you go in there, and it's genuine. And it's like, man, I need to listen to this dude, especially when you go to that team. I know you feel it. You just feel it everywhere. These guys know how to work. Yeah. That's why when people ask me, they say, if there's one coach, who would you want to play for? I said I would come out of retirement right now and play for Bill Belichick. because I know, like, man, it is such business. It is business over there, and I respected that, and I appreciate that, and I love that. That's why I love playing for Coughlin. Is people say how strict and tough he was. You had a bunch of guys. It was all. I mean, it was such a profession where, I mean, during practice we had a bunch of guys on the sideline that were in suits. I didn't know who these people were. They were just in suits. They were there. You know, I'm sure.
Just observing. I mean, they weren't like.
No, I'm sure they were in
teammates.
Meetings. I'm sure they were in meetings with like the Tisches and the Mara family. I'm sure they were in meetings and hanging out with Mr. Jerry Reese at the time and Dave Gettleman. I'm sure, you know, but it was such a business, and a lot of just grown men and the maturity of how we ran practice. You know, even like your practice uniform had to be right. Yeah. Everything had to be good, and that's how we won game. We won game because everything was business. We had fun, but it was all business. That's why it was interesting when I went to Jacksonville. It was different. You know, I love Jacksonville. I want to stay there for a long time, but they had to learn, you know, to treat it like business. And now they do. You know, I got Coughlin down there now. So I mean, that was a huge change for why they're having success now. Believe it or not. So interesting.
All right, full spectrum. That does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman. Since we didn't get to do our usual 2 per week, but we made this one chock full. This one's almost a 2-for-1, basically. So hope you appreciate that. By the way, we have reached our necessary quota of ratings, so we're going to have our drawing now for the prizes. Thank you very much. But continue to rate us, because we will continue to give out prizes, and you may be eligible. We haven't had the drawing for these group of prizes yet. You'll either be eligible for this one and or the next set of prizes. So wherever you get your podcasts, rate us, iTunes, wherever, and send us a screenshot of that rating to @BucherFriends, and you will be eligible. In the next podcast, I'm going to be joined by one of my FS1 colleagues, and I believe it will be Colin Cowherd. We are still getting that on the schedule. That's what we're attempting to do, but if not, it will be someone that I'm working with in the next couple of days on TV. So look forward to that. And I'm also going to have a little bit more news on the KD, Kawhi, Kyrie front, because I've got my ear to the ground on all of that. In the meantime, for Will and myself, as always, thanks for listening.